Hello and welcome to SaltWire today for Wednesday, November 23rd. I'm your host, Kate Walker. The province is pushing for more doctor recruitment to Nova Scotia. It was announced today 6 doctors will serve as MD recruitment leads, participating in site visits and meeting with potential candidates to share their experiences of living and working here. The initiative, with 1 doctor each in the Central, Western and Eastern health zones and 3 job sharing in the position in Northern Zone, will cost about $376,000 in 2022-23. Meantime, more efforts to improve the ailing healthcare system today. Health officials were grilled on how they're addressing the crisis in Nova Scotia emergency rooms. Health Department and Nova Scotia Health representatives appeared before the Public Accounts Committee at the legislature amid the ongoing pressures on emergency services, especially here at the IWK Health Centre. The Deputy Health Minister says efforts are underway to relieve pressures on ERs, including a new program called Single Paramedic Emergency Response, which allows paramedics to treat low acuity patients on scene without transport to the hospital. A Viola Desmond memorial was unveiled today in Halifax. It was presented by the Viola Desmond Legacy Committee and the North End Business Association. Marvin Nelligan was awarded the commission to create the art piece to honor the late Viola Desmond, now on Gottingen Street in the North End of Halifax.
We want to create something for the younger generation that they're going to be familiar with, that they're going to understand and be able to adapt these lessons and these stories from the past, and help them to connect with those things.
The marvelous design artist says the Desmond Legacy Art Project was to combine physical art with digital technology to create an interactive experience.
What inspired me is her savvy. She was a chemist inside. Her hunger to strive and achieve all that she could inspired me to do the same. Again, the theater incident definitely happened to her, but it's not who she was inside. Incidents like those kind of propel our spirits to come alongside our communities to fight for equality, justice, and peace. So Viola answered that trailblazing call. That's exactly what she did.
The Viola Desmond Legacy Committee was established in 2018 in order to see the late Viola Desmond recognized in the city where her actions in business and civil rights have a lasting impact. The province is providing funding to the Black Cultural Centre in Cherrybrook. It was announced today the Houston government is pitching in $225,000 to the Black Cultural Centre to preserve and promote African Nova Scotian culture and history.
ANSA has a mandate to promote and enhance understanding and awareness of African Nova Scotian heritage and culture. It's a key part of our Countless in Action plan in response to the International Decade for People of African Descent, part of what we do.
The money will also go towards the center's 2022 to 2025 strategic plan that includes increasing volunteers and enhancing archives. The idea is to enhance the center as a community hub and a tourism destination. For their 60th season, Neptune Theatre is presenting Elf the Musical this holiday season. The story of Buddy the Elf, a human accidentally raised by North Pole elves, began last night and has announced an extension of 8 extra performances, which will run to January 8th, 2023. SaltWire's Stephen Cook has the details.
Few modern-day Christmas stories push that holiday spirit into overdrive like the comedy Elf. It tells the story of Buddy, a full-grown human who was raised as one of Santa's helpers at the North Pole, and his quest to find his real family. In 2010, the Will Ferrell film was turned into a hit Broadway musical, and this Christmas it returns to the Neptune Theatre stage for a special run through early January. Artistic director Jeremy Webb says having Buddy the Elf back on the Halifax stage, a decade after his last visit, will bring joy to kids and the young at heart who have never experienced this magical and often hilarious story before.
Doing a show like this and doing the Christmas shows here at Neptune, it kind of forces me to have my little Christmas heart grow a couple of sizes. So, and this one, with its liveliness, its comedy, and some amazing musical numbers, it really gets under your skin.
Taking on the role of the wide-eyed innocent Buddy the Elf is returning Neptune cast member Ryan Brown, who theatergoers recently saw in its production of the Rocky Horror Show. Now appearing in a much different kind of musical, Brown says that playing Buddy allowed him to reconnect with his inner kid.
He's just this really excitable, really impulsive person that is also just trying to find his way in the human world. He's been in an elf world forever, so even just something as simple as sitting on a normal-sized couch just throws him for a loop.
Elf the Musical is now running at Neptune Theatre as part of its 60th anniversary celebrations and has had its run extended until January 8th. Visit NeptuneTheatre.com for more details. In Halifax, I'm Stephen Cook for the SaltWire Network.
It's time now for a glimpse of today's Thinking Out Loud with Sheldon McLeod. Today, Sheldon is speaking with Emily Pictou-Roberts, who is now the first auntie in residence at 2 Nova Scotia universities.
First Nations communities and First Nations were very much matriarchal, and the women were very much a part of that community. And it's so awesome to see that the university has put in place an auntie. So what is the Mi'kmaq word for that?
So that would be Niskwi. My pronunciation isn't the best, but it's a term that we use here in Mi'kmaq to sort of describe a woman, generally a young woman, an older. It doesn't matter if you have kids, if you actually have nieces or nephews, but it's generally a young woman in community who can culturally share information, provide spiritual enlightenment, practice any sort of Indigenous crafting, spirituality, things like that, but also are very kind, very caring towards the youth, and really want them to do better. So we'll put our foot down and we'll be a little mean if we need to, but the kids are always going to know we're here.
And for Sheldon's full conversation, head to the opinion section of saltwire.com. Time now for the Atlantic Sports Wire, presented by Scott Squires.
Here's part 2 of my conversation with Tim Boyce, the head coach for the Halifax Max U18 Major Hockey Club. We talked early in the season, before you started the regular season. You only had a couple of returning players, so a lot of players that you were kind of bringing into the fold and showing them the Max way. What's the biggest improvement that you've seen in your team from the beginning of the year to where you are now?
I think we're finally starting to realize our identity. I think we've got everybody buying into defense first hockey, just like I mentioned earlier, being hard to play against. We're physical. Teams don't like playing us. I think we're starting to see some of the benefits of that. In Moncton, we won a lot of low scoring games. And I think, in playoffs, that's going to bode well. And, the biggest thing I think is just the guys are buying into one another. They don't care who scores the goals. They're supporting one another, whether we're up or down. I got a really good feeling that, it's a sense of team in our locker room right now.
The Max are currently in 5th place in the league, 7 wins, 9 losses, good for 14 points. In Halifax, I'm Scott Squires for the Atlantic Sports Wire.
Thank you, Scott. On to weather now. To see what's coming up in the forecast, we're going to check in now with our weather specialist, Alistair Alders.
Thanks, Kate. Well, the weather today was much like yesterday. We started the day with clouds and some rain showers and wet flurries, and then lots of sunshine this afternoon. It is going to be a bright day tomorrow, but it will be chilly. This evening we'll have partly cloudy skies and the temperature near -3, but a cold start waking up on Thursday morning. The temperature near -7, with lots of sunshine though, and a sunny afternoon with a high temperature only heading up to 0. So we're only going to reach the freezing mark tomorrow, and we will have winds gusting 20 to 40 kilometers per hour throughout the day, so there certainly will be a bite in the air. Now, there is a warm-up as we go into and through the upcoming weekend, but that comes with a bit of a cost. We do have more unsettled weather on the way. Rain and wind will move into the region Friday night into Saturday, and another system possible later this weekend. Kate.
Thank you, Alistair. That's all for now. For more extended video and full online articles, stay tuned to saltwire.com. And you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at SaltWire Today. I'm your host, Kate Walker. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.